In the early 19th century, amidst the rolling moors of northern England, a young orphan named Jane Eyre embarks on a journey that will test her spirit and define her place in the world. Charlotte Brontë, the brilliant mind behind this enduring classic, weaves a tale that explores the depths of love, resilience, and the quest for self-respect. Jane Eyre's story begins in the austere and unwelcoming household of her Aunt Reed at Gateshead Hall. Jane, a small, pale child, is constantly reminded of her status as an unwelcome burden. Her cousins, particularly the brutish John, torment her, while Aunt Reed regards her with cold indifference. The bleakness of her early years is marked by a sense of isolation and injustice, yet it is here that Jane's fierce independence and moral fortitude begin to take root. She finds solace in books, those portals to other worlds, and in her own vivid imagination. The situation reaches a breaking point when, after an altercation with her cousin John, Jane is locked in the Red Room, a chilling punishment that ignites her defiance against her oppressive circumstances. Her impassioned rebellion against the unjust treatment she receives leads Aunt Reed to send her away to Lowood School, a charity institution for orphan girls. Jane's departure from Gateshead marks the first step on her journey towards self-discovery and independence. Lowood School, however, is a harsh and unforgiving place. The headmaster, Mr. Brocklehurst, is a hypocritical tyrant who preaches piety and humility while subjecting the girls to near starvation and frigid conditions. Jane's indomitable spirit is tested further when she witnesses the cruel treatment of her dear friend, Helen Burns, whose serene acceptance of suffering and untimely death leaves an indelible mark on Jane's young heart. Helen's stoicism and unwavering faith challenge Jane's understanding of justice and suffering, shaping her moral outlook and deepening her resolve. Amidst the trials, Jane finds a role model in Miss Temple, a kind and compassionate teacher who recognizes Jane's intelligence and integrity. Under Miss Temple's guidance, Jane excels academically and matures into a thoughtful young woman. The harsh conditions at Lowood improve following a typhus outbreak, leading to better oversight and reform. Jane spends 8 years at Lowood, 6 as a student and 2 as a teacher, but the yearning for new experiences and a broader world remains ever present. Restless and eager for change, Jane advertises for a position as a governess. She receives a response from Mrs. Fairfax, the housekeeper at Thornfield Hall, and soon finds herself employed as the governess to a young French girl named Adele Varens. Thornfield is a grand, albeit mysterious, mansion owned by the enigmatic and brooding Mr. Edward Rochester. Jane's arrival at Thornfield marks the beginning of a new chapter filled with intrigue, emotional complexity, and profound growth. At Thornfield, Jane's days are occupied with teaching Adele and managing the household affairs. However, it is her growing acquaintance with Mr. Rochester that stirs the deeper currents of her life. Their first meeting is dramatic. Jane helps him after he falls from his horse, unaware of his identity. Mr. Rochester is a man of dark moods and hidden sorrows, yet he is drawn to Jane's honesty and keen intellect. Despite the difference in their social standing, a bond forms between them, built on mutual respect and unspoken admiration. Jane's plain appearance and straightforward manner are a refreshing contrast to the shallow sophistication of the socialites Rochester is accustomed to. Their conversations are charged with wit and challenge, revealing layers of complexity in both characters. Jane, who has long suppressed her emotions in the face of hardship, begins to experience a profound and unsettling attraction to Rochester. Yet, she remains cautious, aware of the vast social chasm between them and her own need for self-respect and autonomy. As Jane settles into her new life, strange occurrences at Thornfield Hall begin to unsettle her. Eerie laughter echoes through the halls at night, and mysterious fires and incidents suggest that not all is as it seems. These unsettling events are often attributed to the peculiar servant, Grace Poole, but Jane senses a deeper mystery lurking within the walls of Thornfield. Despite the growing mystery, Jane's relationship with Rochester deepens. She saves him from a potentially deadly fire in his bedroom, further cementing their connection. Rochester's gratitude and evident affection for Jane kindle hopes and fears within her heart. She finds herself torn between her burgeoning feelings for Rochester and her steadfast sense of propriety and self-worth. Just as Jane begins to hope for a future with Rochester, he suddenly brings home a bevy of high society guests, including the beautiful and haughty Blanche Ingram. Jane believes Rochester intends to marry Blanche, a prospect that fills her with despair, but also steels her resolve to remain true to herself. Despite her inner turmoil, Jane conducts herself with dignity and grace, refusing to let her emotions compromise her principles. Amidst the gatherings and social whirl, Jane remains an observer, her emotions carefully guarded. Rochester, however, continues to seek her company, often leaving the glamorous Blanche to converse with Jane, whose honest and unadorned presence he clearly values. This strange dance of affection and misunderstanding culminates in a dramatic revelation when Rochester, in a moment of intense emotion, proposes to Jane. Confused and overwhelmed, Jane hesitates, fearing it to be a cruel jest. But Rochester's earnestness and passion convince her of his genuine love, and she accepts, her heart brimming with a mixture of joy and apprehension. Preparations for the wedding proceed, but a shadow of unease hangs over Jane. The night before the wedding, a mysterious woman enters her room, tearing her bridal veil in half. Jane is deeply disturbed, but remains steadfast in her resolve to marry Rochester. The wedding day dawns bright and hopeful, yet as they stand at the altar, an unexpected interruption shatters their happiness. Mr. Mason, a stranger, steps forward to declare that Rochester is already married. The revelation is devastating. Rochester's hidden past comes crashing into the present as he confesses that his wife, Bertha Mason, is alive but mentally ill and confined in the attic of Thornfield Hall. The eerie laughter and strange occurrences now have a horrifying explanation. Rochester's attempt to bury this dark chapter of his life and start anew with Jane is thwarted by the inexorable truth of his existing marriage. Heartbroken and betrayed, Jane finds herself at a crossroads. Despite her deep love for Rochester, her sense of morality and self-respect compels her to leave Thornfield. She flees in the night, penniless and desolate, driven by a desperate need to preserve her integrity and find a place where she can rebuild her shattered life. Her journey leads her to the desolate moors, where she wanders, near death from exposure and starvation. Fortune smiles upon her when she is taken in by the Rivers family, St. John, Diana, and Mary. They offer her shelter and kindness, and under their care, Jane slowly regains her strength. She adopts the name Jane Elliott to protect her identity and starts a new chapter, teaching at a village school provided by St. John. The Rivers siblings become her new family, offering the companionship and support she has longed for. St. John, a stern and ambitious clergyman, soon reveals his own desires. He asks Jane to marry him and accompany him on a missionary journey to India. While Jane admires St. John's dedication and shares his commitment to duty, she knows that marrying him would mean sacrificing her own happiness and sense of self. Her heart still yearns for Rochester, and despite St. John's persuasive arguments, she resolutely declines his proposal. Amidst this inner turmoil, Jane experiences a profound and mystical connection to Rochester. She hears his voice calling her name across the moors, a call that stirs her to return to Thornfield. Driven by an inexplicable need to find Rochester, she sets out once more, her heart filled with hope and fear. Upon her return, Jane discovers Thornfield Hall in ruins, a charred and desolate remnant of its former grandeur. She learns that Bertha Mason, in a final act of madness, set the fire that destroyed the mansion. Rochester, in a heroic attempt to save his servants, was gravely injured and is now blind and maimed, living in seclusion at Ferndean Manor. Jane's reunion with Rochester is both heartbreaking and deeply moving. Despite his physical injuries, Rochester's spirit remains unbroken. He is humbled and repentant, his arrogance tempered by suffering. Jane, undeterred by his changed appearance, reaffirms her love and commitment to him. Their bond, forged in the fires of adversity, is now stronger and purer than ever before. In the tranquil seclusion of Ferndean, Jane and Rochester find a profound and enduring happiness. Their love, tested by trials and tribulations, emerges victorious. Jane's journey, from the bleak confines of Gateshead to the tumultuous heights and depths of her relationship with Rochester, culminates in a deep and abiding peace. She achieves not only the love she has always sought, but also a sense of self-worth and independence that defines her character. Reflecting on her journey, Jane finds solace in the knowledge that she has stayed true to herself. Her story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of love, continues to inspire readers, inviting them to explore the depths of their own hearts and the heights of their own dreams. The quiet, restorative life at Ferndean allows Jane and Rochester to build a new foundation based on mutual respect and deep emotional connection. Jane becomes Rochester's eyes and strength, guiding him through his daily routines with patience and love. Despite his physical limitations, Rochester's spirit remains unbowed, and his gratitude for Jane's unwavering support deepens their bond. Together, they create a world of their own, filled with simplicity and profound contentment. As the seasons pass, the couple finds joy in the small moments of everyday life. Jane reads to Rochester, describing the changing landscape and the beauty of nature around them. They share intimate conversations, reflecting on their past struggles and the remarkable journey that brought them together. Their love, now free from the constraints of societal expectations and hidden secrets, flourishes in the serene environment of Ferndean. In time, Jane receives a letter from her long-lost uncle, Jane Eyre, informing her of his death and her inheritance of a substantial fortune. This unexpected windfall provides financial security, but for Jane, it is the emotional riches of her relationship with Rochester that hold true value. She shares the news with Rochester, who rejoices not for the wealth itself, but for the independence and freedom it affords Jane. The inheritance symbolizes a full circle for Jane, who once faced the world as a penniless orphan and now stands as a strong, self-sufficient woman. The couple's happiness is further blessed with the arrival of their son, a child who embodies the love and resilience of his parents. Jane embraces motherhood with the same strength and devotion she has shown throughout her life, finding fulfillment in nurturing and guiding her child. Rochester, though unable to see, finds joy in the presence of his son, cherishing the sounds and sensations that connect him to the world around him. In the years that follow, Jane and Rochester's love story continues to unfold in quiet, profound ways. They remain devoted to each other, their bond a testament to the enduring power of love and the human spirit. Rochester's sight partially returns, allowing him to catch glimpses of the world and, most importantly, to see Jane's beloved face. This miraculous recovery further solidifies their belief in the resilience of hope and the rewards of unwavering faith. Jane's story, as she reflects upon it, is one of remarkable transformation. From the bleak, oppressive halls of Gateshead to the loving sanctuary of Ferndean, her journey is marked by trials that tested her resolve and shaped her character. Through it all, she remains true to her principles, guided by a deep sense of self-respect and a fierce independence. Her love for Rochester, tempered by suffering and sacrifice, emerges as a beacon of strength and redemption. The enduring themes of Jane Eyre resonate deeply with readers across generations. The novel explores the complexities of love, the struggle for personal autonomy, and the quest for identity in a world that often seeks to define and confine. Jane's resilience in the face of adversity and her unwavering commitment to her own values offer a powerful message of empowerment and hope. Charlotte Bronte's masterful storytelling brings Jane's inner world to life, capturing the emotional nuances and moral dilemmas that shape her journey. The rich, Gothic atmosphere of Thornfield, the stark realities of Lowood, and the pastoral beauty of Ferndean create a vivid backdrop for a narrative that delves into the depths of human experience. Bronte's eloquent prose and keen psychological insight make Jane Eyre a timeless exploration of the human heart. As we close the pages of Jane Eyre, we are left with a profound appreciation for Jane's indomitable spirit and the transformative power of love. Her story, filled with trials and triumphs, reminds us that true happiness is found not in the trappings of wealth or social status, but in the authenticity of our relationships and the courage to be ourselves. Jane Eyre's journey, marked by resilience and redemption, continues to inspire and resonate, offering a timeless testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.